to order. It's the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors, Monday, September 23rd, 2024 meeting. And we're going to start off with, we need to have a motion to approve electronic participation for one of our board members. And so I'm going to read this and then we'll go ahead and have the motion. 2.2-3708.3 of the Code of Virginia, 1950, as amended, permits members of the Board of Supervisors to participate in a meeting of the board through electronic communication means from a remote location in certain situations. Board member Sarah Bone has requested to participate remotely in the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors Virginia meeting scheduled for Monday, September 23rd, 2024 at 6:45 p.m. to be physically held at the Government Center, Christiansburg. The reason for this request is Supervisor Bone will be out of town and that prevents her from attending in person. Members physically present shall vote to agree to allow participation by other board members requesting to participate remotely. May I have such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and roll call.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
I have 4 ayes.
Okay, and so Sarah, you are certified now, or whatever. So here we go. So our first item is to go into closed session, and our motion is going to read, be it resolved, the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County, Virginia, hereby enters into closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following. Section 2.2-3711, number 3, discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. Number 1, acquisition of real estate for potential county office space. Do I have such a motion?
Motion.
In a second?
Second.
Okay, and roll call, please.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, we are now in closed meeting.
Montgomery County is growing and adapting as we
Now close meeting.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Okay, and our next item will be to certify, and our motion will read, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County, Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion conveying the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board. Do I have such a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Okay, and now it's the time of our meeting when we have a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance led by our County Administrator, Ms. Hill.
Please stand for a moment of silence, and then I'll lead us in the pledge. Let us pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So we have, under presentations, awards, and recognitions, we have 2 things tonight. And our first one is the Montgomery County Annual Report, and Ms. Hill's going to give us a little information.
Yes, our public relations and community engagement team has put together our annual report, and Jen Harris is here to share that with us this evening.
Good evening. I wanted to thank you for giving us this opportunity to present the fiscal year 2024 annual report. The Community Relations Public Relations and Community Relations Office has worked very hard to put this together along with county staff. And the fiscal year, as you know, it covers July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. And I have a brief introductory video that I want to share with you. But first, I want to go over just a few quick highlights. So this is an interactive report, just like it has been the last couple of years. So there are pictures and videos throughout where you can get more information and learn more context about the various things. And the content from the county departments has been placed in a couple of different categories. So it's not by department name, which is a little bit different than what we've done in the past. It's general administration, public safety, parks, recreation and culture, community development, health and welfare, and public works. And again, this year we have a section that has awards and recognition information, as well as facts and figures, so you can see at a glance some of the important facts and figures. And as always, there are a few people who have made this report possible, specifically Durley Aguilar, Becky Hertling, Josh Rosenfeld, and Taylor Carroll, as well as the many highlights and accomplishments by our county staff. So I am going to share, and this shows the different categories. If you want to visit it, you can visit our website at montva.com/annual report to see this. And we're going to share a quick video with you.
Montgomery County is growing and adapting as we remain focused on our future. Every day our goal is to provide citizens the services they need to live their lives, perform their jobs, and enjoy the many recreational opportunities in our beautiful community. During fiscal year 2024, Montgomery County welcomed new businesses, programs, and services, including the expansion of the county's emergency medical services. I encourage you to learn more about what Montgomery County has been busy doing for you from some of my colleagues.
In 2022, the county created the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Department. As of fiscal year 24, the county has obtained its EMS license and has hired 20 full-time and 20 part-time operational personnel. Of those, 8 full-time paramedics work with an EMT providing 24/7 coverage in the eastern Montgomery and Reiner areas.
Montgomery County continues to be a prime place to do business. In fiscal year 2024, Montgomery County welcomed United Therapeutics to Falling Branch Corporate Park. The state-of-the-art 70,000 square foot building is being used for biotech research. A portion of the construction funds went back to further development of Falling Branch Corporate Park.
Here in Parks and Recreation, we're building more parks for our community. Along Route 8, construction of the Reiner Park continues and will feature 2 multi-purpose fields, 4 baseball and softball fields, 3 restrooms, 3 shelters, and 2 playgrounds and a walking trail. In the summer of 2024, we hosted the 10 and under and 12 and under Babe Ruth Softball District Tournament at Creed Fields Park. These tournaments, plus the other parks and recreation activities, give our citizens the opportunity to get outside and be active.
Here in the county, we are engaging with stakeholders and community members to update our comprehensive plan, Montgomery Matters. This new plan will shape county policies and guide local decisions over the next 20 years. We hope you will all get involved and help us plan for the future because Montgomery matters.
At the Animal Care and Adoption Center, we focus on education, adoption, and community. In fiscal year 24, the center partnered with the Virginia-Maryland College of Veterinary Medicine to help make necessary treatments and surgeries for our animals just a little bit easier. Under the supervision of 2 veterinarians and 1 licensed veterinary technician, vet school students now provide free medical exams, surgeries, and treatments for the animals in our facility. This not only provides hands-on experience for the students, but also allows our animals to receive care right here in our building. Last year, vet students conducted over 700 medical exams and treatments, in addition to 430 surgeries, right here at the Animal Care and Adoption Center.
Montgomery County Human Services is working to serve you. Nationwide, there may be a decline in volunteerism, but Volunteer Montgomery has seen a significant increase in the number of folks looking to serve our community. In fiscal year 2024, there was a growth of approximately 62% of the number of people who joined Volunteer Montgomery in hopes of serving.
We're building a better tomorrow for Montgomery County. One of our ongoing projects in the capital improvements plan is our magistrate and our court services facility. The new facility is designed to accommodate growth and increase safety for the community, as well as our officers, with the addition of an enclosed, secure sally port.
I hope you've enjoyed hearing about some of the things we've been busy doing for you, our citizens. I welcome you to learn more and explore Montgomery County's annual report.
So again, we hope that this introductory video has enticed you to go check out the annual report, and it can be found on our website at montva.com/annual report. And I appreciate your time tonight. I know you have a busy meeting. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. I want to thank you and your team for putting that together and for all the directors that helped do their part in that as well. It's quite a lot of achievements that we've made this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. It was so positive. I love
That's right.
that. Okay. All right, next we have our broadband update.
Which is a great segue, because that's another good thing we've got going on here in the county. We have several of our partners here today on our broadband project, so I'll let them introduce themselves because I'm not sure exactly which people are going to speak, but I can tell you this is Eric Workman.
Well, hello, everybody. It's nice to be with you this evening, and I've known many of you for quite some time, and maybe in different capacities, so it's nice to be with you this evening. I want to introduce a few people, if it's all right. So on the end is Adam Blankenship. He's the general manager for GigaBeam. He's the man that's on the ground every day here in Montgomery County working on the project. Very active, and everything's going with subcontractors, contractors, et cetera. Of course, Michael Clemens, the CEO of GigaBeam Networks. Michelle White is the director of marketing back there. And then, of course, Amanda and Teresa with AP. Amanda Cox and Teresa with AP. So just a fraction of the team that works on this project on a daily basis. So I'm going to go over a few things here for you tonight. As we get started, I just want to talk briefly about rural infrastructure development. And watching that video is very impressive of everything that's happened in Montgomery County this past year. And when you think about what it takes to do those type of things, it takes rural infrastructure development. And one of the things that we like to think about, of course, with this broadband project is it's being key to your future as far as that rural infrastructure that you need. And the challenge that you run into lots of times, as many of you well know, whenever you do rural infrastructure development, it's its own challenges just due to the demographics, the sparsity of households, et cetera. So there's reasons why lots of times some of these communities have been left out because it doesn't make a traditional business model sense. That's why it takes partnerships, it takes everybody working together and being really kind of thinking outside the box to pull these type of projects off. We're very pleased to be able to use the utility leverage program that the Commonwealth of Virginia came out with a few years back to allow this project to take place. And actually it started out originally, if you remember, as a 3-county project. Kind of ran through some little bit of differences there for a little while, kind of set us back a little bit, but to where now it's a 2-county project, well underway. And the beauty of the project is it not only does it help provide that infrastructure that the power company is going to be using as it provides in their smart grid type technologies, but as a leaser of the dark fiber from them, it makes it only more compatible to make it more affordable to where when we get to the end product of having a product to provide to this customer, that we can offer that at a comparable rate. Because normally if you just had to do this on a traditional business model, you'd have to charge so much that nobody could ever afford it. So this project is unique in the fact that it's actually 2 projects kind of mixed in one. Our main focus right now, we refer to, and you'll hear me talk about OLTs, that's an optical line terminal. That's what we use to kind of define an area that the electronics serve. So as you take throughout the entire project, there's roughly about 60 OLTs throughout the entire project. The main focus right now is in the Shawsville-Elliston area. That's OLTs 3 through 10. Now there's overlap there because the first body project and then the second body project overlap in that same area. But when we went to design and start construction, instead of just building one and then come back and run out an extra 1,000 feet here, 1,000 feet there, we said we'll just build them all at the same time. So we do have OLTs 3 and 5 are now serviceable. We have right at 229 serviceable passings. I think as of today, we might have 16 more with the Boners Run splicing that was done today. Right there through the horse farm, they had to redo a little bit of that section through there, so it added another 16 more. But our main push as we get through the end of 2024 is to have OLTs 3 through 10 completed, up for service, and out there for those customers in the Shawsville-Elliston area. So as you can see there in the map that's kind of outlined in gold, we are actively building an OLTs 1 through 27. And you might ask, well, if your focus is 3 through 10, why are you in all these other areas as well? Well, there's different skill sets on the project. When it takes to actually hanging the fiber on the poles, most of that work has been done in OLTs 3 through 10. We do have some railroad crossings there that we're working with the railroad to get the permits finalized. Well, the permits have been finalized, but getting scheduled for them to allow us to do the crossings. And then also splicing, the splicing piece that comes back. So we have other crews that do nothing but hang the fiber, and they're out moving throughout the area. So basically all of Montgomery County south of Interstate 81 is actively under construction at this time. Go back there one time. And I'm going to go back one more time. The reason, so as of today, we're about 110 miles of fiber in the air. So the crews pit up 2 or 3 miles a day right now, fiber goes into the air. And as you see, when the APCO AEP will come up and give their presentation, the uniqueness of this project is we have to be in front, we're out in front of Appalachian Power as they come through. We want to make sure all of our line work is in place, test it, ready to go, to where when they come through with their line work, their splicers can splice it into their mainline fiber and it goes active. So we don't want to be us behind them, we need to be in front of them. So that's why we have so many miles in front of Appalachian Power. Because we have so many crews in the area working, we've tried to do some, you learn a little bit as you go. We've gotten several calls from different citizens wanting to know, is this crew an Appalachian Power crew? Is it a GigaBeam crew? Is it just another provider crew? So we have bought magnets to go in all the service trucks. So even if it's a subcontractor, people know that it's a GigaBeam truck that's out there in the field. We've also have staff now going out on the weekends and handing out flyers to all those addresses that are serviceable, just to where they know, even though we're paying Facebook ads, we're paying for advertisement to go out. Michelle's attending various events. I think she'll be at the concert this weekend in Charlottesville. We still have staff out going door to door, handing out flyers, just to let people know that the services are available. Of course, we have a variety of packages. We still offer the base packages as in the agreement, but we also offer several other things such as BARC, software for children and so forth, parental controls, Arlo cameras. We're trying to put incentives out there too to folks to where if they want to go in and sign up early and get signed up, we try to do some free installation for aerial installs. We're trying to do different things package-wise to try to increase the amount of takes on the service. And that's another example there. And basically, like I said, we have staff out in the field going door to door. We are sending advertisements out to people. We're also doing mailers. We have a variety of staff that also call back and let people know what's going on when they call in and get on our email list and so forth. But we're excited to sign people up because that's our main goal, is to hook up people and have services provided. And again, I kind of ran through this a little bit, but I can't say enough about how these partnerships work and how important they are. Because if we were just a private provider trying to provide to these rural communities, we might provide somewhere, because you might be able to make it work if there's a dense population. But if we have to build out, let's say, to a community that's, say, 3 homes on a 2-mile stretch of road, you might have an average cost of 80 to 100,000 miles per mile to build out. So if you spend $100,000 to hook 3 homes up, you'll never make your money back. So that's why it takes these larger projects and partnerships to make these things work. Amanda. Let me see.
That's all right, I got it. Madam Chair, members of the board, Amanda Cox with Appalachian Power. Thank you so much for having us tonight to talk about this project. I want to reiterate what Eric was saying. Can't say enough good things about the partnership. From working on this application to the state, from engineering, from construction, to working with the PR team of the county and APCO and GigaBeam, everybody has been wonderful to work with. I never block Angie when she calls me and wants to know what's going on. She does, I'll tell you. She keeps up with what is going on with this project because she knows it's important to you guys. You're forward-thinking, collaborative. I really appreciate everything that you do. So we'll get into some updates. Want to remind everyone, Eric touched on it, what our role is in this project. We are the middle mile provider. So we are building fiber in areas of our service territory with rough terrain, in some cases sparse population, just like Eric pointed out. We did have to gain Virginia SEC approval for this project, so it did add about 6 months to the timeline. Sorry, it's just being regulated. That's what we have to go through. But we do expect to invest around $33 million in this county alone in this project. So as Eric was saying, going down a road to serve a couple of homes can take $80,000 to $100,000 depending on what it looks like fully loaded, and that's where that cost comes in. So how it works, we build in the power zone. We own and operate our asset. This avoids the traditional make-ready work involved with telecommunications projects and allows GigaBeam to basically just have a drop and then tap right into the fiber. I don't want to be too technical, but install a drop and serve the customers. We lease the dark fiber and we hand off to Gigabeam to serve the customer, and the benefits are clear. So this allows for a future-proof solution for connectivity, and you're also enhancing the electric grid. So we do, the fiber is dual purpose. We are taking care of the grid, improving reliability in your county, and also providing this service to Gigabeam to make sure that your residents have the opportunity to be served. I am not going to read everything on this slide, but I did just want to show how extensive and what a major project this is. So a lot of these steps don't have to happen for everything, but several of these steps have to happen just as we're looking at an OLT or we're looking at a segment and what that may take. You know, we have lots of complex scheduling, a multi-step process as we go through this and cross-functional collaboration. It involves numerous teams across many departments all over AEP. And, you know, we're kind of all over the place. So we've got project managers in Ohio, we've got them here, we've got construction, we've got engineering, we've got folks working on Make Ready, you've got people like me working with Angie and other stakeholders, making sure that they have the most latest updates to report to you guys. But it really does take a really large team to execute something this big. So just an update on our build. Eric mentioned we're waiting on some railroad crossings to occur. So we have of that area up until the railroad crossings, kind of where we are. And we're getting close to that typical timeline. So we're expecting we'll get those permits anytime. Securing flaggers has been challenging too, but we're working on that, and looks like Eric wants to.
I just want to add, so when we did the underground boring, so when the railroad.
Eric, can you scoot over to the mic? Thank you.
So when there's right at 8 crossings in the Charlottesville-Elliston area. So all those been submitted back in February. The challenge we run into is timeline. There's just massive backlog in their system. It's managed by a third-party contractor. When we had the inspectors out that day and we finally were able to get on the schedule, he said there was a 4,200 passing backlog in the railroad system. So it's everybody's building everywhere. So the railroad piece is backed up there a little bit. So we have a special engineering firm that works nothing but on those permits. And actually on that one, we got a call that day, I think it was on a Monday, I believe so, it said, hey, can you guys do a boring on Friday? So we had to call a boring team out of Ohio and pay a premium to get in here, because if not, it'd been well after October before we could do that underground bore. So it's a massive backlog, I think, with all these projects and how it's hit the railroad crossings. But I just want to let that be known.
Thank you. So even though we're having those challenges and issues, we are still working on framing and reallocation of work in that area. So we're working on the slack loops in the underbuild, and we're cutting the fiber to create splices at the railroads to allow our crew to continue making advancements on that segment, because we really are seeing a little bit of the holdup. Next, we have the Reiner loop that we're working on. It's approximately 25 miles. We are finalizing our construction package and permitting right now. We've accelerated the schedule on those activities, and we're targeting installation start date in October, pending finalization of all of those permits, right-of-way activities, environmental, and things of that nature. Initial installation steps, just so you know, include locates followed by anchoring and framing, which normally takes about 3 weeks, and then you'll start seeing the reels of fiber coming in, and they'll be going mile to mile on this build. We talked about fiber design and splicing. I feel like we talk about that a lot on our calls. We have all of Gigabeam's designs. We received that in August. We're working hand in hand with them. You have to make adjustments and corrections as you go along, and we're continuing to work through those designs. We do not have anything holding up fiber construction at this time. There's been some questions about pop sites, but there are none planned at this time. You guys are going to utilize cabinets. So for good news for the future, what we're looking at in 2025 on these construction segments, the next one will be the Price's Fork Loop, which is 25.5 miles. We are scheduled to begin in mid-January. Then we have the North Blacksburg Tri-Cities, approximately 24 miles, scheduled to begin also in mid-January. Lead Mine Childress, 10.5 miles, beginning in late January, and Plum Creek, almost 6 miles, scheduled to begin in early February. So we have a lot on our plate. It's taken us a while to get to this point. As I mentioned, really big undertaking, huge project, lots of different people working on different pieces of it. But we told you, once you start seeing fiber moving in the air, it will come quickly. And as Gigabeam pointed out, they've built out well over 100 miles of fiber as we're working on this project. And as we are stringing, they are dropping and connecting to their customers. So there's been a lot of work behind the scenes. And I know that's hard when you don't hear about people being connected, but we are at that point. We've got those OLTs Eric mentioned, connections are taking place, and they're just going to continue to roll on.
I want to thank our team, all these people. They are committed. They came from all over the state. Maybe some of them came from out of state. I don't know for sure, but I do appreciate that you all came this evening to share with our board, because it is important to us. Brian and Carly and Jen are important parts of this team as well. So thank you for your commitment.
Definitely. Thank you guys for the partnership, and honestly, just always answering the phone, always helping, and everybody on the team. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Yes, okay. All right. So Supervisor Grafsky, would you like to start?
Thank you for being here, but I don't have any questions. Thanks.
Okay. And let's go to Supervisor King.
This all sounds exciting. We've been working on it for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When do you think it's going to be done?
Well, our push is to have most of the Gigabeam fiber completed and hung by the early first part of the spring. That way, as AP moves through, they're never waiting on, everything's ready. It's sitting there on a pole. So you might actually see sometimes the fiber sitting there maybe in a reel or in a slack, sitting there waiting to be spliced in. That's us. We've built our piece. We're waiting as they bring their piece through and they hook it all together.
Is that your people out on Meadow Creek?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We have, I think that's one of the biggest chores Adam has in the mornings when he hands out supplies there. And I want to mention a lady that we couldn't do enough of this without. And that's Miss King. That's who we rent a site off of out there in the outside the Christiansburg area there that we have as our operational yard. I think Miss King is 90 years old now. 90 years old. And we celebrated her birthday with her, and just truly dynamic. And I think she does more pushing on subcontractors than we do to keep them going. But just a great lady. But yes, sir, that's our goal. That's our push, is for our piece to be done by the spring of 25.
Thank you.
But now that will be, and I say that's the fiber being hung. The end piece, and I get reminded of this quite a bit, is that technical piece at the end where they all splice it together, because that's when the magic works. Because ultimately we can have all the fiber in the world and have all the electronics, but if something's spliced wrong or if it's backwards or what have you, then the network doesn't work. So
backwards. Yeah,
that's if I was doing it. So we'll let the network engineers handle that piece.
Thank you.
Okay. Supervisor Kitts.
So, and I know y'all hitting a lot of rock down there. So from what I understood from coming through, and it's delayed you laying some parts of this. I don't want to steal any of your thunder. You sure? I'm pretty sure you did. So as far as delays goes, and we're talking about laying the wire, laying the fiber optics by a certain time, when we start talking about that side of the county, it's important that we get this put in. How far behind do you think you are, and what's the possibility of overcoming it, and is the railroad portion going to hold you up that much? I'm sorry for the deep breath on that.
The railroad portion is something that I really don't have an explanation for. You know, when we hired an engineering firm specifically just to handle that, and that's what they work for, is the railroad. And I don't want to be here like saying anything derogatory about the railroad. I think they're overloaded in their processes of how many applications that they have in the queue. Our materials are there. Lots of times the poles on either side of the railroads per se, and all we're waiting for is that approval for the flagger to come out and stand there while we run across and we run up the pole and hook it up. I mean, so we're not talking about a long amount of work. Actually, we asked I think they're restricted. The flagging crews can only do 2 crossings per day. So when you look at some of these crossings only take 45 minutes to half an hour apiece. You would think we could do more than that, but they're restricted on how many they can do, and that's 2 a day. I don't know if that's a federal restriction. I'm not sure. But on the same token, it slows down that whole process there. And the challenge too, far as when you turn up service, if you have an area that, even though it's a railroad crossing, if that service is not turned up at the same time, in order for that splicing to take place, everybody has to go down to that OLT service area. So let's take OLT 6, for instance. There's over 300 serviceable passings in that area. So if we get to the point where we turn OLT 6 up, but we don't have that one section on there, we'll have to have a scheduled outage that day and let people know that, hey, the system's going out for that service to be spliced in. The challenge with that is, as you're picking up new customers, you really don't want to have a lot of outages, because the last thing you want to do is have bad quality service right off the bat, because usually they're leaving somebody come to you or because they want better services, and if they're having to go through multiple outages, that's why we try to turn up an entire OLT area at the same time.
Is the railroad portion going to be catastrophic for that? I mean,
I don't think it would. There's literally small portions of homes on either side there in Shawsville, Elliston area through there.
okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, and Vice Chair, I'm sorry, Supervisor Bone. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. I have 2 questions. One is, you make it sound like the Reiner and Shawsville area will be up and going in the springtime. But what you do say, and maybe I'm misunderstanding it, is that, like all the infrastructure is going to be there, but the last connection, maybe I'm not understanding it correctly, the connection to the house and the house actually, getting the service, when are all of the people in the Shawsville Reiner area going to have the opportunity to have service to their home?
That's a good question. So just to clarify, Shawsville and Elliston, the areas 3 through 10, they're set to be lit and serviceable before the end of this year. They have to be before the end of this year because it's part of that earlier grant that has a December 31st deadline. So that's the focus of everything we're doing, is making sure that those areas have service. Most of the line work is done in those areas. The only thing that's really left in those areas is the splicing. And like, for instance, in OLT 4, those are a lot of remote splicing. And so instead of doing it with a bucket truck, they have to go out, climb the pole, bring the splice case down, put it into a cabinet. It's a lot more tedious. So they can only do 1 or 2 splicing cases a day just because of the tediousness of that work. But no, ma'am, I apologize if I misspoke, but OLTs 3 through 10, which is Shawsville and Elliston, will have service before the end of 24.
I think she also wanted to know about the Reiner area, when that would be serviceable to the home.
The Reiner area, our piece will be built. It'll be Appalachian Power's piece to start construction.
Hopefully in October, pending no issues with permitting or anything like that. We hope for 1.5 to 2 miles build per week. Of course, everything's weather dependent if we run into any issues with any of those permits. But as we're building, we get to that OLT point where, as Eric said, we're splicing, we're testing, we're turning up, and then we're handing over.
Yes.
But the beauty of that is we build it in those segments so that we can connect or GigaBeam can connect as we go along.
Okay. All right, Vice Chair Fitchick.
So when is the Reiner area going to be done? When are people in Reiner going to be able to have service?
Well, we will start again, barring no issues with permitting, in October, and hoping for 1.5 to 2 miles per week on the build. I'm not super technical, but depending on how those OLTs are broken up in Reiner, it will be similar to what we're doing now. We'll get certain OLTs built out we will splice, we will test, we will turn up, and they'll go to GigaBeam for connection. So I can't speak to exactly when they'll get connected, and Eric really can't speak to exactly how quickly we're going to be able to move along, but we'll be working on this as hard as we can.
I guess my question is, and maybe I misunderstood, but I could have sworn that Eric said something about being complete in the springtime. And is that for the whole county? Is that just for Reiner? What was that?
No, ma'am. Our push is we want our subcontractors to have the majority of their fiber placed and ready to be spliced in the spring of the year. That's our push and our drive to our contractors, because we want to make sure for if say for instance if AEP or something happens and they move along and things move very, very quickly, we do not ever want to be in a position where we're holding back somebody getting service because we don't have our lines placed. So our push to our construction team is to have all the fiber placed and ready to be spliced and ready to go by the spring of the year.
So then at that point,
in all of the county?
Yes, ma'am, that's our push.
Okay. When is the last person in the county going to be able to get service to their house?
That would be a question I can't give you right now because that's going to depend upon what that ultimately looks like once APCO builds their section out and all that splicing takes place.
The grant.
So our contract with you was to have it all done by this year for the whole county. Is that correct?
We have till March of 26, but our intention is to be done significantly faster than that.
And a portion of the funding the county funding that is going toward the project is ARPA funding that has to be spent.
Yes.
And complete by December 31st of 2026.
Yes. Yes.
But the contract that we signed with them, they said that they would be able to complete it by when?
It has a March of 26 date on the contract.
Okay. So my second question is, and I'm not sure if it's for either GigaBeam or AEP, it might be for the county, is I can't remember which presentation had North Blacksburg as, something going in the springtime. What does North Blacksburg mean on that slide?
We name our routes based on our substations. So it doesn't mean we're building out in Blacksburg to serve residents there. That's just kind of how we name out what we name our substations internally. So, don't read into that other than we have substations in the area with all of those names on them. It doesn't mean we'll be serving folks in North Blacksburg, just that, and we may even have to build a little bit in the Blacksburg area, but we are not allowed to serve with our fiber any areas that are already served.
Okay, does Angie, the end of Mount Tabor Road, when you get to Roanoke County, but on the Montgomery County side, those are the people that have sketchy copper wire phone service and have sketchy cell phone service. Is there any priority for people who have sketchy communications to be higher on the priority list of getting, the option to get fiber to their house sooner than later because of safety reasons?
Well, we're trying to do that, but at the same time, there's a way that the system has to be built because of starting at certain points and working out from those points. So that is definitely one of the considerations that we talk about when we talk about areas that we can move into and the sequence of those areas. And we're also looking at the areas that have the most population of unserved or underserved homes. So we are taking those those factors into consideration. It's a little,
Can the
Supervisor
Board of
Bone, it's a little.
Supervisors,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
can the Board of Supervisors see the priority list at any point in time that you guys are going over so that we have a better understanding of which communities are going to be served first, second, and 50th?
Maybe I can provide some clarification, ma'am. So ultimately, the system builds out and it links cabinet or area by area. So you need one area to link to the next area. So it's not necessarily a priority list. It's just the physics of how the system and the network works. You can't necessarily build one section of the county before you build another section and get light to it, because we could build it, but we won't be able to get services to it because you have to have the next section. It kind of is building blocks. They just build off of each other.
We can get more information for you that shows the list of the timing that we think it's going to happen in. Maybe not the exact time that things are going to be completed, but the order that we plan to have them done in.
Mm-hmm. It just seems to me that, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago, there was a huge, and it used to be called the T1 line, but it was something bigger than the T1 line that came down the 81 corridor so that people could, or, communities could tap into this really super highway kind of thing. It just seems to me that there could be a super highway up 460, and I'm just figuratively saying that, so that, very early on earlier than the last, because obviously the corner of Montgomery County next to Roanoke County in the northeastern part of the county is going to be one of the last served because we started in Shawsville. Is there any way to put a superhighway to actually go to the far reaches of the non-service telephone people, let alone cell phone service people?
Maybe we can talk with you and get a better understanding of what you want us to share with you, and we can share that in another update in a future board meeting.
Yeah, I think that would be
good. That sounds great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it sounds like you have some concerns that need to be addressed separately. Okay, thank you. Let's move to Vice Chair Fidzikowski.
Yeah, I want to start off with a positive comment. I was very excited weeks ago when I was coming through Christiansburg and saw an army of your trucks parked and ready to roll, and I've been seeing them all over the place. So that's very encouraging. But now I did notice that the cabinet that's on Mrs. King's property is not hooked up yet.
You're talking about the one in Karen
Waldron.
Pappas, yes, Pappas. So that was the one that we did have cooked up, but it's the railroad crossing right there. So she sits.
Yeah, that's not the one. I was thinking it's on Allegheny, just off of 460 on Allegheny Springs.
That's OLT4.
That's OLT4.
Yes. So OLT4 has a significant amount of splicing that has to be done. That back section where they have to cross the mountain back through there, pretty rugged for the splicers to get in there.
Okay. The picture that you gave us with the yellow outline, those are all the 3 through 10 area?
That's 1 through 27.
That's 1 through 27.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. 3 through 10 is basically right there. Goodness, don't blank. It's right there as soon as you come into Salisbury.
Would it be possible to get some
I can get you
road names that would associate with each one of the OLTs?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That would be very helpful because, the majority of our citizens feel like this whole thing was supposed to be completed 2 years ago. I don't think they really understand the complexity of what you all are facing, but usually the first person they contact is not you. So it's really hard to give them an idea. And I realize that you cannot promise dates on each one of these OLTs. That's not practical because there's a lot of variables in there, and I understand that. But to know what roads would be affected, even if one road crossed into two different OLTs, that would be fine.
Yes.
But just to get a list of that, I think would be very helpful.
Absolutely. And we've been providing some of that information back to the county admin staff for us, like what are the exact addresses we're serving right now? Which ones are being held up due to railroad crossings? I mean, reason being is we want to make sure that you all have the information as well, to where if somebody calls and they don't call us directly, they call you guys and say, well, I'm looking at this map, I should be able to have service. They can look at that address and say, hey, you're on the other side of the railroad, or you're in that fiber service area that's going to be in that railroad crossing, so you're held up right now. So we've been working to try to make sure we provide as much information as we can, but we can work on that.
Yeah, and the map, I would love to see where that area is,
Absolutely.
you know,
absolutely.
in reality, because this is kind of blurry here to me.
Well, that was the, and I apologize, when I went to, and I said, hey, let's put something together, just kind of shows the general broad area.
It's that big.
It is.
Yes.
And when sometimes our maps, when they have so much information into them, when you dive in, trying to get them ready for a presentation makes it a challenge.
About a year ago, you all provided a map, and it was mostly Shawsville, Elliston, and then it also went down into Allegheny Springs.
Yes, sir.
And you had these red boxes. Would those be OLT areas?
Yes, sir, probably.
Okay.
I can go back and look and see. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So in the OLT area, that OLT cabinet will serve hundreds of houses. And then 256. Then we have, then we break those down into 32s. So we operate on a 32-to-1 split. So then you have a fiber service area that might be broken out. Those set of addresses go back to a special section in that cabinet. So as you can tell, I usually just do a lot of talking with Amanda, Michael, and Adam. They can get really down into the weeds on the technical piece to this, but we'll definitely get you some more information on that.
Okay, and the last thing I was kind of curious about, because we had talked about this, I want to say 3 years ago, but that can't be, can it?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, whatever.
Yep.
But we had asked about, what about customers that have underground power, let's say from the roadway, and they have a fairly substantial distance, 200-300 yards to their house. Have you run across any of those yet?
We haven't run into one that now we're working on, and every one of those. So aerial installs are pretty simple.
Right.
We try to provide we do provide a free aerial install if it's a traditional aerial install. Undergrounds can be a little bit complicated. Most of them are very simple. You have a pole, 200 yards to the side of the house. We can run a machine up through there. We can bury the fiber and off we go. Sometimes it becomes a full-on construction project where we might have to get a mini excavator out there and dig a bore pit and bore underneath the road. In those types of situations, they just vary so much. So what we try to do on those underground installs is send a team out and do a evaluation. And they just scout it real quick, because we have people in the field there every day anyway. They scout it and they report back and say, hey, this is what it's going to take to do this one. Or if it's going to be a severe construction project, then we have to work something else out to try to figure out that piece with them.
What if the property owner were to dig the trench? Would that be something that they could work out with you, or?
We've done that in the past where property owners put in their own conduit. The only challenge we run into, excuse me, Ethernet cable versus fiber optic cable. Ethernet likes to go through conduit a little bit better than fiber. If you don't have the right curves and the right pieces in there, if you crank that fiber a little bit, it doesn't have the same amount of light that goes through there. You have so much loss. So we try to work with landowners, but we do have some landowners that they know that they want to have underground install. They've already reached out to us, and we say, hey, this is what you need to put here, and they come out and do it, and that way it's ready to go. They put the pull string in, whatever that's needed.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and keep your foot on the gas pedal, I guess.
Yes, and I again appreciate all of you guys, because these projects are timely, and I sat on the other side of the fence when this thing got started. I retired, went into consulting, and jumped back in. So these projects are big, and again, an echo, these rural infrastructure projects, it takes partnerships, it takes all of us working together. I can't say enough about Angie. and her staff and the team. We talk to them every Thursday. I do a little bit of extra at church on Wednesday nights to get ready for Angie to beat up on me on Thursdays. That's what I tell her all the time. But in all reality, you're a great team. We love working with you all and with Appalachian Power as well. So.
I just want to go back to the prices for North Blacksburg, because see, in my district, I have Brush Mountain, and Brush Mountain folks have been asking me constantly about when things are going to happen. So I just want to make sure I have this straight. So I understand placement and the splicing and all, you're trying to get that done through the whole county by the spring of 2025. So then the next question they're going to ask is, well, then when are we going to be connected? So I want to know from you what answer I give them. Because that's what goes on every week.
So Ms. Biggs, this is what I would, here's what I would advise is ultimately, this is a massive infrastructure project, pinning up hundreds of miles of fiber infrastructure throughout the county of Montgomery. A lot of work, not only in just engineering preparation, but also relocating all those third-party attachers that didn't move. So we're having to remove all those third-party attachers as we move through there. But as we work together, the initiative is everybody's focused to get internet to the people of Montgomery County as soon as possible.
Okay, so
But I
as
didn't
soon
give you a
as
date, I
possible,
know.
but you have to have it done by,
Well, the end date for the agreement is March of 2026.
right.
Our push, our goal is
Is
we want to be
before
done
that.
significantly
Okay.
faster than that, because I'll be honest with you. As I mentioned earlier, we're also a business and we need to make, at the end of the day, we want to sell internet to folks. We want to have a competitive rate, we want to have a quality product and have a great product, and not only be a proud provider here in Montgomery County. So we need customers. So it's beyond just building out a network. It's about making sure that you have a quality product and having quality services. And so with that being said, we want to move as fast as possible, because at the end of the day, somebody's going to make a choice. They're either going to take another option, they're going to do something, but they're not going to go without. So our focus is how do we push, how do we keep moving as fast as possible to where we can be that service provider for them.
Okay, well, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Supervisor King actually asked for this presentation, and what I like about it, and I'm glad Supervisor King did this, because people do tune in to watch our meetings and then watch the videos, and by what you all did tonight, I think that everyone's able to see the framework of how complex this really is, first of all, and second of all, how dedicated you are and invested you are into making this happen for Montgomery County. So we thank you. And as I told you earlier, keep whipping the whip.
Well,
Get it done.
I will part on this. So this, and I say this in all sincerity. GigBeam Networks has been around for 27 years. We originated out of Giles County. We're from here. This is where we're from. I'm a Virginia Tech grad. Mr. Clemens is a Virginia Tech grad. We're from this area, and that's our focus, is how do we build out into these rural communities that for so long have kind of been left behind because they don't make necessarily business sense for the big major company to come in and invest. So we're proud to be partners with you all, proud to work with Appalachian Power, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your staff and this team. They're amazing to work with. We've got some really good things that are happening through the end of this year and going into next year. So we're really excited about it. Thank you for sticking with us and making sure to be on top of everything. We're excited to bring good news.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. All right. So our next item of business is public address. And basically, we have a sign-up sheet. We had one citizen sign up, but after that citizen speaks, anyone else in the audience that would like to address us for public address may. You just come forward, you state your name and where you reside, and you direct your comments to the chair and the board members. And it's our time to listen to your concerns. We don't answer any questions during this time. You'll have 4 minutes. There's a little box up there. And when you see the yellow light come on, that means you've spoken for 3 minutes. And when you see the red light come on, that means your 4 minutes is up. And if you have any written comments or anything that you want to leave with the board, you simply leave it with Ms. Sweeney, our clerk, down there at the end. So with that being said, we do have our first citizen that signed up, and this is Andrew Schenker, I believe. Hi, welcome.
Hi, I'm Andrew Schenker, 1025 Janelle Road. That's in District B. I live near the ACO Quarry, which some of you may know about. In the mid-90s, the board approved the doubling of the quarry with a special use permit. And there are 14 conditions on that special use permit. I was opposed to the doubling at the time, back in the 90s, but I recognized the importance of the quarry to the county, and they have basically been good neighbors over the years. Sometimes when if I get home from work before 5, I look out over the horizon, over the quarry, and I see a huge cloud of rock dust, which I know is a violation. And occasionally I call DEQ Air, Tim Overstreet, and report the violation, though I don't feel like it's my responsibility to do so. This winter, the quarry's redoing their entrance to make it look nicer with a new fence and all. And they ripped out all the conifers that were a big part of the original SUP. And I will read number 4. It says, quote, "Planting of conifers to screen the quarry from Janelle Road and Yellow Sulphur Road shall be completed by April 1st, 1996. So the conifers are not a big deal to me, but I was kind of surprised that they would rip them out like that. So I called the zoning administrator and said, "Do you know what's going on over there?" And he said no, and that was about 6 months ago. And I never really heard anything back, and I called back not long ago. And he said, well, he hadn't gotten to it, he's going to look into it. And a couple more calls. As I said, I'm not that interested in the conifers. I'm more interested in air quality and water quality. But I was surprised. So I wanted to read you another condition of the SUP. It says, compliance with these conditions shall be verified at least annually by the zoning administrator. So I'm wondering, after all these years, is the zoning administrator actually verifying compliance with any of these conditions, and particularly the air and the water? And if I had a wish list, I would hope that the county could put in a camera and point it over the quarry so that when there was an air violation, it would be recorded, so I wouldn't have to call. And I kind of wonder about all the other SUPs that the county has issued and whether they're being verified. And as long as I'm up here, I will mention that I really appreciate the library system.
Oops, and your time is up, but
Okay.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward during public address? Okay, seeing no one, will close public address. And do we have any addendums, Ms. Hill?
No, we do not.
All right, so our next item is items of consent. Do I have a motion to put that on the floor?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
All right, that moves us into new business, and our first order of new business is the support grant application for Montgomery Museum Department of Historic Resources. Do we have a motion to put that on the floor?
Motion.
Is there a okay, and a second. Any discussion?
May I add one thing?
Yes, you may.
The museum folks came and presented to us at our last meeting, and then we got consensus that this would be something that the board wanted to support. So rather than just write a letter of support, we felt like a resolution would be more appropriate and more beneficial.
And we have the museum folks with us
Yes.
tonight. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Kitts? Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Thank you all for coming. There you go. Okay, our next item is Montgomery County Public Schools Capital Fund Transfer, and Ms. Hill might like to say a few words.
Yes, the next two items are just transfers between funds that are already appropriated in the school capital project fund to specific projects. And if you have any other very specific questions, Ms. Bland's here to address those.
Okay. Is there a motion to put that on the floor?
Motion.
And a
Second.
Okay, any discussion or questions from board members? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Okay, our third item is Montgomery County Public Schools Capital Project Transfer of ESSER funds. Is there a motion to put that on the floor?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
And our next item is Fire Prevention Week, October 6th through the 12th, 2024, and that's a resolution. Supervisor King, do you want to say anything about that?
I just want to say, this would be a good time to check your smoke alarms, your batteries in them, and some departments, if you don't have one, some departments will bring you one and install it for free.
Would you like to make a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Okay, our next one's a very important resolution. This is for National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that is in
So
October.
moved.
And I think Ms. Supervisor Bone just moved it. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
As a survivor of breast cancer, aye.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
And our last item of new business is Operation Greenlight for Veterans 2024. We've been doing this the last couple of years, and the event will be in November, right? I think November, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to put that on the floor?
Motion.
And there's-
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. Grafsky?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Kitts?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair Biggs?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Okay, that takes us all through our items of new business, and now it's the county attorney report time.
No report.
Okay, county administrator.
Shocking that Marty doesn't have a report. I wanted to share with you that Scott Woodrum and Chris Lawrence and I went on a tour of the New River Regional Authority, which is one of the solid waste authorities that we participate with. And it was a good tour. We learned a lot. It was very interesting. We got to see some cool eagles. That was fun.
How many?
I think we only saw one. One
Really?
or two, one up close and one that was in a distance. That was good. Some of us attended the Onward Dinner a week or so ago. That was a good awards banquet, and also presented some information about one of the Revivicor company that's in our county that we often speak about and support. And then finally, I wanted to tell you that we received, I think you might already know this, but for people who might be watching, the library received a VACO Large County Achievement Award, which is a big deal because Montgomery County is just barely considered a large county. So to win this Achievement Award is significant. It's for their sensory museum, so that will be presented at a meeting in October by VACO here to us. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, let's go to our board members. Supervisor Grafsky.
The only thing I have to share tonight is to invite everybody to the Long Shot McCoy Fire and Rescue Pancake Breakfast on Saturday, October 12th. I think they get started pretty early in the morning, and that runs till about 10 a.m. But it was a lot of fun last year, and welcome anybody to come out and support Fire and EMS.
Okay, thank you. All right. Supervisor Bone, do you have a report?
Yes, I'd like to thank Gigabeam and AAP for doing their presentation. Following Supervisor King and him asking for the presentation, could we have a presentation maybe quarterly, just to have an update?
For the broadband?
Yes,
Would there
we
be
can
any interest in that?
We do provide an update, I think quarterly, that is put out by county staff, works with our partners to provide that to you in an email format. But if you would prefer to have an addition, a presentation.
Yes, I think that our community residents would probably really appreciate the opportunity to see a presentation and the progress.
Yes, we can do that.
Anything else?
And then I wanted to congratulate the libraries. That's awesome. But also thank Jen and all her staff and everybody who was involved in the video for the annual report. That was great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Supervisor Kitts.
No report at this time.
Okay. Supervisor King.
Have no report, but during the Fire Prevention Week, it'd be a good time if you live in a two-story house to make sure people upstairs has a way to exit and practice your escape with your little kids.
All right. Good reminders. Vice Chair Fijikowski.
I'm sorry I missed the tour of the New River Resource Authority. That's always, I took it some years ago, but it's always interesting. And I think the day I got the tour, I saw 5 eagles.
Wow.
So they looked like they were having fun. That's it.
Okay, and I just want to give a shout out to the Virginia Tech Montgomery Executive Airport staff for the remarkable job that they do every game day with the RV lot and with parking all the airplanes and then dealing with also the flyovers. And they were in charge of making sure they had a place for the Black Hawk helicopters to be. So shout out to them for their hard work. And that's all I have. Anything else? Oh, yes.
They're still moving dirt at the Roanoke Park.
All right. Okay. All right. If nothing else, then we are officially adjourned.